The National Statistics Office's first advance estimates of GDP for each fiscal year are based on a rough extrapolation of headline indicators for the first 6 to 8 months and are mainly intended as inputs to the budget-making exercise. The latest release estimating that real GDP and nominal GDP growth rates will be at 9.2% and 17.6%, respectively, in FY22 must therefore be read with caveat. Building on the low base effect caused by the pandemic, the NSO expects manufacturing, construction and trade, hotels, communication and transport to take GVA growth to 8.6%. Should this come good, both agriculture and industrial activity would exceed pre-pandemic levels this fiscal, while services activity would be just below it. The advance estimates are even more optimistic on nominal GDP, expecting it to grow 17.6% in FY22 against a 3% contraction last year. As this nominal GDP estimate makes up the denominator for the union budget's deficit calculations, the generous expansion assumed will allow the center additional elbow room on expenditure. As the advent of the highly transmissible Omicron or the rapidly spreading third wave in India weren't in the reckoning until very recently, there are some aspects to the above estimates that could face challenges. 1. In arriving at a GDP growth forecast of 9.2% for FY22, NSO assumes that economic activity in the second half would accelerate over the first half, with 58% of agricultural GVA, 53% of industry GVA and 52% of services GVA for the full year expected to be achieved in the second half. While agriculture may yet improve its performance, disruptions from the third wave looked set to impede both industry and services performance. The big rebound factored in trade, hospitality, communications and other services could be particularly tough to achieve should lockdowns and mobility restrictions make a return. 2. The expenditure-wise breakdown suggests that the NSO is pinning its hopes on a significant pickup in private investment. While private consumption is expected to grow a muted 6.8% and government expenditure 7.6% in FY22, gross fixed capital formation is expected to expand 15%. While government capex may well lend a helping hand to this, India Inc. is just about beginning to talk of expansion plan. We need to watch whether Omicron-related disruption forces a rethink. It is also interesting that, in expecting nominal GDP growth of 17.6% against a real GDP growth of 9.2%, the NSO is factoring in inflation at 8.4% for FY22. If these are indeed the general inflation rates prevailing in the economy, the MPC faces an even tougher trade-off between stimulating growth and reining in inflation than we think.